What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I just want to spend a few minutes gushing about Mario Kart World, the newest Mario Kart game that we saw in depth at that Switch 2 presentation last week. As I am speaking right now, we're just a week away from the Mario Kart World Direct, which takes place on Thursday, April 17th, where we'll learn all sorts of stuff about this game, and a lot of our questions will be answered. But while we're in this area of confusion and mystery about this new game, I just wanted to get all my thoughts out about it because I think it looks so good. I know this game has been marred in controversy about the price, and obviously that should not go undiscussed. But today, I just want to talk about the game itself and give my thoughts on everything we've seen and why I feel so hyped for this game that comes out in just under 2 months. Let's first talk about the 3 main modes they showed off in the Direct. The first one, obviously, is Grand Prix, but Grand Prix is a big difference this time, and it's that you're driving in between the courses rather than just on them. I wasn't sure how I felt about this at first, because when you watch the treehouse footage of a normal Grand Prix, a lot of the time is spent driving in between rather than in the courses themselves, which I think is a little boring considering, look, every single inch of this world seems super detailed, but the most exciting and interesting areas in this game are going to be the courses themselves, not the intersections between them. But apparently, and who knows for sure, we'll probably learn more in the Direct, you can turn this off. If you don't want to drive between, you don't have to, which completely took away my worries about this new feature, because if I really hate it, I can just go back to normal Mario Kart Grand Prix. But I do think this is going to be a cool new way to experience Mario Kart. The race doesn't end when lap 3 is over. You keep going. You get to explore these vast highway-type areas that still seem like there's a lot to trick on and some nice turns to make. They don't seem boring in design. They just obviously aren't insane like some of these courses are that we saw in the Direct. And speaking of those courses, boy, every single one they've showed off looks incredible. I love the DK one, where there's a big DK at the end. It's like the old arcade game. I love the Mario Bros. Circuit course they revealed the game with, which has the Yoshi Burger thing, and it has this desert vibe with all these sprawling paths you seem to be able to take. These courses just seem so big, so vast, so exciting, and with 24 players, that makes sense, right? You need more space for all of these different racers. But I think it's going to contribute to an incredible Mario Kart that's at a scope we've never seen before. And I know that's obvious. The game is called Mario Kart World. Obviously, it's huge, but I'm just so excited to get to racing on these tracks because I think it's going to be more fun than it ever has been before. And we'll get to the fun aspect later because obviously there's some gameplay changes that I think are exciting as well. The second mode is Knockout Tour, which is sort of a Battle Royale style Mario Kart. You have 6 one-lap races, and the qualifying number to move on to the next lap gets lower after each race. This is such an obvious addition to Mario Kart, but it's such a good one as well. It's funny to think about how Mario Kart 8 came out before the idea of a Battle Royale went super crazy and super mainstream, right? In 2014, Fortnite was not even a thought in anyone's minds, and now it feels like everyone has tried out their own Battle Royale style mode or game in their series. So weird as it sounds, this is kind of Mario Kart's first chance to dibble their toes, that can't be the saying, to dabble in that sort of mode, a Battle Royale type race, and I think this is an awesome way to do it. I love how it's 6 one-lap races. It's a quick style of Mario Kart. It's not just a longer Grand Prix in which some people are eliminated. This is super high speed, super intense. You can't make one mistake or you could be knocked out. But even if you are knocked out, you can just hop right back into another race, right? That is the one problem about Grand Prix that I think is being fixed with Knockout Tour, is that sometimes you're playing Grand Prix, you play the first race and you get like 8th, and then you're thinking, well, what is the point of continuing? I've got 3 more races ahead and I'm already behind in terms of first place. But in Knockout Tour, 8th place might be okay, right? You might just need to get a top 20 finish in that race to move on to the next one. It weirdly feels more low stakes and also more high stakes than the normal mode, and I'm just glad they're giving us alternative ways to play this game. Maybe it's just a result of Mario Kart 8 being over 10 years old at this point, but it does kind of get old just racing the normal way, game after game after game. Having any sort of variety will be perfect, especially for a game that is so vast and so big. They've got to bring the extra modes. I hope there's more that they show us in that direct, but this is an incredible start in terms of side modes. Speaking of side modes, this is the mode I never thought would come. In my predictions video for Mario Kart World, we didn't know it was called that at the time, obviously. I said that my dream was for there to be one interconnected world in which you race on. But I said there's no way Nintendo would ever do that in Mario Kart. That's not the point of Mario Kart. It might not come as a surprise to you that my number one hope for this game is some sort of single player content. And perhaps this yellow bag is cluing us into the fact that this game is going to have a very expansive single player mode. What if the single player mode is one big interconnected world where all sorts of different tracks connect together and sprawl over this big sandbox almost for the player? Not a sandbox in that you can do whatever you want in it. You'd probably still be driving around in it, but perhaps they're all connected. Maybe this is the big secret for Mario Kart 9. Maybe we're getting a huge single player mode. Probably not, but a man can dream and a man can hope. And yet here we are. They did exactly that for Mario Kart, and I still can't believe it. This is the big next step that Mario Kart needed. And if we are going to be playing this Mario Kart for the next decade, it is a nice variation on the traditional formula. One thing I had always felt playing Mario Kart games, but especially Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, is that the worlds that these courses are contained in seem so vast and so lively and so detailed, and I just wanted to explore them. But obviously you can't do that. You just race on the track, and at 200cc you can't even admire what's on the side and what's above and below. You just race on the track. But now there's a way to really appreciate every ounce of each track just by roaming around them at your own pace. But as fun as just roaming around, doing your own thing sounds, I would like there to be some sort of quest system or some sort of story to have in this mode. I know single player guy over here can't just enjoy something in the game. He needs a little checklist to check off, but I do. I would like a little quest system. There is an achievement system, it seems, and you do seem to also unlock costumes in this mode, so we already know of some stuff that you unlock through free roam, but I would like there to be more, even if it's not a whole overarching storyline. Mario Kart doesn't really need that, but even something on the level of Mario Kart DS, I know I bring this up a lot, where they had missions and all of that stuff, but just placed inside of the map, right? You drive up to some random Koopa and he says, "Hey, I've got a challenge for you," and you try to drive through the hoops or something. I don't know. I hope there is something like that. And the Treehouse team said in one of the clips that they were holding a lot back in terms of free roam. They showed off some of the gameplay of that mode, but they also said tune in on 417 to get a lot more info on free roam. So clearly there's a lot more to this mode than just driving around the courses at your own, pace and at your own accord. And I can't wait to see what that is, because I really think this could be a game in and of itself. Mario Kart is always going to be about fun, quick multiplayer racing, but this free roam mode, if it really is as detailed and as expansive as we think it might be, it could almost be like having two different Mario Kart games on one cartridge. So I really hope they go all out for this mode, because it is exactly what I was hoping for. So why not just bring it to the tippy top of what it could be? Don't leave any stone unturned for this mode. Regardless, I am super excited for this mode. This is the first thing I'm gonna do when I get my Nintendo Switch 2, is hop right into Mario Kart World and hop right into the map and just start exploring. Hopefully there's some sort of guidance, some sort of quest system with which to explore with, but either way, I'm just gonna take in the scenes of this vast Mario Kart world. Cannot wait for it. I want to speculate real quick, because I mentioned earlier I hope that there's some more modes in this game just to give even more gameplay variety for Mario Kart World, but what could they be? Obviously we know there will be a battle mode, and I wonder how they do that. Are there going to be battle courses on the map? Because I'm not really sure where they'd fit in. Or are the battle courses just going to be contained by themselves like they usually are? I'm not sure, but I am excited to see their take on it. I thought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's battle mode was really fun with all those different modes and those really cool stages. But one thing I will say about the stages is they did get a little finicky in that there were a lot of turns and obstacles and all of that stuff. They weren't the easiest to just spin around in a circle in and find people in the battle mode. They were a little bit crowded, so if they could space these out, make them a little wider, make them a little more conducive to battle mode, that would be awesome. And I, again, am really interested to see how they fit these little modes in to the main game, especially something like battle mode, which has its own unique stages. I also think it'd be cool if they had a Grand Prix that included every course. Just like driving from one course to the next in a Grand Prix. I think people figured out that there's like 30 stages in this game. Could you imagine a 30-stage Grand Prix? Technically, it would make sense in this game because they're all connected, right? That would be wild. I would love to see that. I can't really think of other modes I'd like to see. Obviously, I keep bringing up mission mode from Mario Kart DS, but I think that's going to be involved in free roam mode, so definitely let me know in the comments what modes you want, because I think there's going to be a few smaller modes that they bring up in the Direct, so I'm excited to see which those are. Let's get into the character roster now, and I gotta say, there's been a lot of debate online about whether this is a good Mario Kart roster, and I'm on the side of this is an incredible Mario Kart roster. All the little guys that you can play as. I think it's just so hilarious. Seeing a sidestepper drive a cart, seeing a bee drive a cart, seeing a cow drive a cart. I popped off when I saw the Moo Moo Meadows cow driving in that trailer. My floor is gonna hit. Oh my god! They put the Moo Moo cow, bro! Oh, this game's peak. This game's peak. That did it. They put the Moo Moo cow in. Come on, bro. It's so darn funny. I just can't get over it. I don't even know what character I'm going to be using. I was a Diddy Kong main in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Sometimes I would go to Donkey Kong, but I'm just going to have a blast switching between all these different little guys in my playthroughs. I don't know which one I'm going to gravitate towards, but I just think it's amazing that they're adding all these random characters. And it makes sense, right? They have these models in the different courses, so why not just shrink them down a little, give them some animations, and make them playable on the roster? I think that's such a smart and resourceful thought and idea for this game. Obviously, I would still like to see some cool non-enemy characters make their debut or make their re-debut in this game, whether it be Diddy, although I'm kind of worried they've like toadstooled Diddy. I kind of think because of P. Diddy, they don't want a character named Diddy. I don't know if anyone else thinks that. It's kind of my conspiracy theory. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm onto something. But, you know, Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, Funky Kong, Cappy. I mean, I could go on. Some sort of other Nintendo game character, Captain Falcon. I talked about it so silly that he wasn't in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Get him in here. I hope there is still some room for some cool characters that aren't just common enemies, but I also love all these random enemies that are in this roster. I will never get over all these little guys driving a cart. I think it's so hilarious. I think it's a great move and a great roster in my humble opinion. Now let's talk about the gameplay, because we've talked about all these different modes, but let's talk about the experience itself and how it seems. And obviously we're not going to know until we play it, but it feels like this is shaping up to be the most satisfying and the smoothest Mario Kart Nintendo has ever made. It feels a lot more momentum-based. Even when you get hit or you fall off a cliff or something happens, you maintain some momentum, and it doesn't feel like such a stoppage when something bad happens to you, which I think is only a good thing. Keeping that momentum going, keeping the flow of the race high, I think that's what makes a good racing game. I think it's why a lot of people love Double Dash so much. I still think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is easily the best feeling Mario Kart of all time, but a lot of people do love Double Dash in part because it's a little more realistic in terms of real-world physics. The momentum system in that game is so satisfying, and it makes races feel so much smoother, so much more fun, so much more action-packed, and it feels like this is an extension of that and an improvement of that here in Mario Kart World. In addition to that, rail grinding and wall tricking, I mean, that just sounds so fun to do. I do wonder how simple or hard it's going to be, because I do think one of the best things about Mario Kart is how simplistic it is. Even though it is loads of fun, it's not the most complicated racing game of all time. I wonder how rail grinding and wall riding is going to affect that. Is it going to start to become a little complicated, a little hard to get used to? I don't know, but from what we've seen, it looks really fun to pull off, so I can't wait. And the final thing that I found interesting is that it seems like there's more ways to dodge blue shells. In the treehouse, a few times when there was a blue shell, the people had the feather item, and they didn't pull it off successfully, but they tried to use the feather item right when the blue shell came at them, perhaps to try and avoid it. So I wonder if that is yet another way to try and avoid blue shells, which I like. I feel like there should be a few different options for avoiding blue shells that the game gives you, because right now we just have the, whatever it is, the siren item that explodes it, but adding another item that does a similar thing will add a bit of balance to the game. Those are all the gameplay observations I have. It's hard to make broad observations about the gameplay until we actually see the game more in action on the 17th, but I'm excited to see them detail it in greater depth. The final thing I want to touch on is DLC. How do we think DLC is going to work for Mario Kart World? Because before, with the Booster Course Pass and even with the few tracks we got for DLC on the Wii U, they just gave us more tracks, right? There was another section in the menu and we played them. But it's not so simple with Mario Kart World, right? Because this is a whole interconnected world with which there are so many different tracks in so many different biomes, and they all interconnect. You can't just plop a course down somewhere. It has to make sense in the context of the entire world. So I wonder how they're going to do DLC, and I think we might not get it right away. There's this perception, I feel like, in the Mario Kart community that on the 17th, Nintendo's going to detail their plans for DLC with this game. We're going to get, like, the Battle Pass or the expansion pass, I guess is the word I'm looking for, where they'll say, hey, you know, month 2 or release, we'll get this, and then month 4 we'll get that. I don't think that's going to be how it is. I think they've got so much to show us about this game that they're not going to have time to touch on DLC. And even if they did, I think they're going to wait to reveal what DLC they're going to do. Because let's be honest, there will be DLC, paid or free, who knows, but there's going to be DLC for this game. That's pretty much a lock. But I don't think it's going to come this year or maybe even next year. Mario Kart 8 was the Mario Kart for 11 years, and while I don't think it's going to be as long in between releases this time, I do think Nintendo wants this to be at least the Mario Kart of the Switch 2. Whether the Switch 3 comes out in 7 years, 8 years, whatever, meaning that for at least the next, let's say 7 years, they want this to be the Mario Kart. Which means at some point they are going to have to give us DLC, but I think doing it right away kind of takes away from the longevity of this game. There seems to be so much content in Mario Kart World that I don't think it needs DLC right away to survive and stay in the zeitgeist, but in 2 years, it might. So why not save the DLC for a few years later when people have started to put down the game, started to focus on other things in your system's library? Because then the DLC would get them back into the game and would get Mario Kart World back into the Nintendo zeitgeist, and I think it would have a much bigger impact. So that's kind of my hot take. I don't think we're getting DLC right away. I think it's going to be a while. And the other reason I think this is because I think the eventual DLC will just be another world. I don't know how this would manifest itself. Maybe it's only sky levels and underground levels, right? We have something like the subway level in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, something like Cloud Top Cruiser in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where they don't add levels on the surface, but kind of like, I guess, Tears of the Kingdom, they add stuff in the sky and down below. Because remember that not only do these tracks have to make sense in the context of the entire map, but they're going to likely release these tracks in different Grand Prix, so they all have to be in kind of a similar cluster. They all have to be in a general area, so you can't just put one track in this corner of the map, one track in this corner, one track in the middle. They all kind of have to be in the same place, you'd imagine. And I think that might be how they do it. DLC Wave 1's going to be 4 cloud tracks, and then DLC Wave 2's going to be 4 underground tracks, and Wave 3 is going to be 4 space tracks or something of that sort. I think that could be a fun way to give us DLC and also have it make sense in the context of the game, because it's very easy to make a cloud staircase or something to get up to that second level, or to make a subway to get down below. But again, I don't think we're going to know about that in a week. I don't think we're going to know about that in a year. I think it's going to be a while before we get DLC. Maybe we get some free updates here and there before the big kahuna that is, you know, the booster course pass equivalent, but I don't think we're going to get anything substantial until then. Again, I'm kind of just interested more so than anything to see how they would do it. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it, I guess, in this direct, though. You know, maybe read the room and don't announce a $20 DLC after, you know, pricing your game $80, Nintendo. Just a word of advice. Maybe lay off that for a little bit. But those are all my takeaways from the litany of coverage that Mario Kart World has gotten, both in the direct and in the Nintendo Treehouse last week. I'm just super excited for next week to see even more of this game and really find out what the, I don't want to say what the hook is. We know what the hook is. It's one big world, but I think they're hiding something within that world that's going to blow us away on 4/17. And I think it's going to have to do with that free roam mode, whether it be a story, whether it be that there's so much content in that world that we just can't believe it. I think something about free roam is going to be shocking. And I can't wait to see what that is, if there is indeed something like that. Let me know in the comments below. Did you like this footage we saw of Mario Kart World? Are you excited for the game? What's the one thing you'd like to see them talk about in the April 17th Direct? Let me know all of that in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe, hit that big, fat button for more Mario Kart World coverage and all sorts of video game coverage as we get into a pretty busy time in the video game world. Switch 2 in June, Summer Games Fest in June. Xbox just announced their June presentation 2 months in advance for some reason, so we got that to look forward to as well. Share this video with a friend who might like it, like the video yourself, and all of that fun stuff. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.